Hey friends, what's up? Yeah, we got cabinet work done this morning. Got a bunch of laminate cut and a plan of attack for everything. Pretty much right now in the shop, it's like every move I make is to gain real estate. Whether it's sawing up some boards this morning, some space, some black locusts. I cut some of those. And then I jumped over and cut a bunch of Formica parts for these cabinets that I'm building, and did some math and trying to figure out how I'm going to proceed with the cabinets. But the cool thing is, can't lose these. I'm cutting the ends off of these guys so I can inspect the grain of these hickory boards that I got on Sunday, and let me tell you, this stuff is phenomenal. It's my hope that I can keep getting this kind of stuff from him. It's just amazing. Couldn't have been sawed better, and I'm hoping that we'll have a long-lasting and continuing business relationship. I hope so. He's a great guy too. I mean, he's got the kind of farm that you could just go out there and spend a day, and just lose track of time and whatnot. Anyway, what I got going on here is a little processing thing. I like the power saw for the ends because I can see the grain a lot clearer. And I'm just cutting, a few inches off of it, just enough to cut the checks that have already started out, most of them. And then I've got the anchor seal, and I'm sealing up the ends. I talked to my kiln guy, Sean, and he actually has a place. I was telling him how primo this stuff is, and he actually has a place at his kiln that he will air dry this. So this is going to be air dried for a couple of months. I think he said he wants to air dry it till it gets down to 20%. I'm not a guru at that, and then he'll throw it in the kiln. The shagbark should be here anytime. So this and my black locust that I got from the local park here is going into the kiln. And I checked that this morning, and it's at 20%. So lots going on. But I think I'm going to leave these slabs the way they are. The grain is just beautiful. So anywho, yeah, I'm just going to get back to work here and show you. I've got these at 2 1/4 inch, and my saw depth is 2 1/4 inch. So some of it, if there's an irregularity, some of it doesn't get all the way through. So I've just got my recip saw, and to finish up the cut. And then once it's cut, then it gets swiped with the anchor seal, coming up the board a couple of inches. I like the anchor seal because it's got paraffin in it, and I'm just real worried about this stuff. I wish he would come and get it today, but I understand he wants to pick up and drop off. That makes the most sense. So anyway. This is, if the shagbark is 10, this is 11 3/4, maybe even 9/10. It's almost 12. Very little heartwood. I would say maybe 15 to 20% heartwood, and where it is, it's standing straight up. There's 2 slabs. This is one, and there's one under the drop cloth to keep the sun off of it, of course, that are definitely not kosher. The heartwood's too knotty, and the sapwood's wrong, so they're just going to be either made into tabletops or sold to someone as live edge that they can do what they want to with. So yeah, that's that. Did I mention that I'm pleased? We're heading to the other end. Oh, that went way under there. Oh, I did get it. Oh, how's everybody doing on this Wednesday? Huh? How are y'all doing on this Wednesday? I hope everybody's good. I hope you're good. It's a little, I'm in some new territory here of just treating all of this like one job, the cabinets and the axe handles, and it's interesting, let me tell you. All right, earplugs are in, glasses are on. My checks go up to about here, so I'm just going to cut them off. And this blade is dull as snot. So I'm going about halfway through and then finishing it up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can see that, but from here to here, it's straight up and down, and then on the ends we're this way. But like I said, we'll put some naphtha on it, and you'll really be able to see what's up. The thing about green lumber, though, if you're going to start dealing with green lumber, you've got to keep it out of the sun, and you've got to keep ventilation on it. I may have to take my tent down. I think I'm going to have to take the tent down. I'll be back in a minute. Pressure treated lumber, if you've ever left a lumber load out in the sun in the driveway, it just goes everywhere. And that's what's going to happen to this. Stuff like this, not only big checks like this, from the water that's in the board itself, but it creates pressure within the board. It'll twist, it'll cup, it'll crown, it'll go everywhere. So you notice these are 1 inch by 1 inch stickers, and you want to get it, at least get shade over it, get some sort of shed with ventilation. There's all kinds of how to build a kiln kind of stuff. There's guys all over YouTube. And the more you can dry it and stabilize it, the more money it's worth. A little precarious. I don't have a forklift or a skid steer with forks, so I just have to muscle this stuff around. It sure was not fun getting it off the trailer, but we do what we got to do, right? Am I right? We do what we got to do. It's all for the wood. Okay. Boys, this grain is just fantastic. Tight grow rings. Amazing. Well, let's cut the end off and see where we're at. 45 degree here. A little bit of heartwood is out of there. Not as good here, but overall, pretty good. On the surface, there's no way. You almost have to cut an end off. Yeah, 25 at both ends. This was probably cut about a month ago, and it sat in Kyle's yard, in his yard, for about 3 or 4 weeks. So it was cut when the sap was up. Ideally, you want to cut your hardwood when in the fall and winter time when the sap is down. Makes it a lot easier. Either way though, you want to let it, before you put it in the kiln, you want to let it rest. So anyway, I'm going to paint this edge and keep on trucking. Yeah, this doesn't look too bad right here. Some of this is good. And there's other types of handles that we can make. Hammer handles, file handles, chisel handles, handles. Won't be until it comes back from the kiln, because it's going to check when it dries. But the key to it is what is the key? I forgot what the key is. Don't worry, it'll come back to me. The key is to keep it out of the sunlight. And for handles that have to deal with a big shock wave and whatnot, you need to dry it slowly at a lower temperature than what you would dry it for, say, a hardwood floor, for cabinets or whatever. Having last few days. Yeah, it's heavy. Yeah, 906, man. I'm so happy for you. You got that mill. And see, that's the thing I was talking about too. They have the equipment, the surrounding equipment that you need to process lumber. You get a sawmill. Joe's got a sawmill too. I mean, but they have forks, and they've got, they can move it around and lift it around. I'm doing well to do what I'm doing, but I'm just processing. I'm on a different end of it. Yeah, there's something with forks on it in my future. This one is definitely, this one's a tabletop. This was the super heavy one too. So, kind of nip at the end. I don't know if your supplier would let you do that, but wood's expensive. I'm not joking. Maybe. We did. We can do that. Yeah, we just did that. Oh, good gravy. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? That's pretty nuts. Again, here to here is straight up and down. This was a pretty big tree. And then here, easily 45 rifts on. How cool is that? Boy, that's heavy. The other thing, if you're going to store green lumber, you're going to air dry and you think you're going to do it inside, there's a whole rigmarole you need to be aware of, and that is the moisture escaping from the wood. If you don't have proper ventilation, not just ventilation, but moisture collection like a dehumidifier, and your dehumidifier is in relationship or better than the amount of moisture that your wood is emitting, you're going to walk down there sometime and there's going to be mold spores everywhere because there's dirt in here and there's water, and so there's ratios and all of that stuff, and it's all on YouTube. There's guys all over YouTube that have built kilns, but that's just one part of it that I really want to try to avoid building a kiln right at this point anyway, because I've got just so much on my plate. Okay, now we're cool. And that's another thing too. When you do a whole tree, you're not stuck with. I mean, these are a result. These narrower boards are as the tree was getting smaller. He was rotating the log every time he would get into something that was looking like it was going to be quarter sawn. He'd rotate the log. He'd look at the end and find out and make the decision on what's the best cut for a flat saw. And then you get into the thing where there really isn't a good situation. And once he got to that point, he stopped, and he was probably left with an 8x8 timber that, yeah, he'll utilize that somehow. Well, hopefully the first of many pignut hickories. And Casterman axes can be your one-stop shop for handle material and custom handles and everything in between. We're definitely giving it a go. Full steam ahead. Oops. I got to get out of here, so it's been great. I've enjoyed it. I'll talk to you later. I love you all. Talk to you soon. Okay. Here we have our off-fall. And this is why I like to use a circular saw, because if you use a chainsaw, you're not going to see the grain as well. And again, to my point earlier of, let's see if I can zoom in on this. This right here looked like this. The only difference is this sat out in the sun most of the time that I was cutting the rest of this. And now look, it's what's happened. This wood is drying too fast at an extreme rate, and it's just going bananas, and you see all of these checking, and that's what you want to avoid. You really do. So anyway, I have a little naphtha, which I like to use to look at wood grain with. I do that when I'm with guitar bodies and stuff like that, or doing a tabletop, because the naphtha, even though it's a pain, it and stinks to high heaven, it dries real quick and it won't put any moisture content in your wood. This is going to be kind of hard to do on this one that's so checked, but I think you can get an idea of the grain. We're looking at these guys going this way, and everything is good here. Now we have the round of the tree that's going to this is going to have to be ripped here, but the width, unless you have some sort of anomaly here, that whole guy is good. Here's the next one from the next board. Now this should come in. Oh my goodness. Again, home run with this one. Look at this grain. Every bit of that's usable, except where it's too small for a handle. Well, I may have to just pour it on here. Oh, too much. Too much, too much. Again, you know, we're not worried about the grain on this one either. How's that looking? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. And notice the grow rings are pretty tight. So this was a pretty, especially, you know, this is a pretty slow growing tree here. Here's the next one. And this stuff stinks. How does that look in the camera? Oh yeah. There, that's pretty good. There, that's kind of better. Now, this heartwood here is a little bit, it's just going to be hit or miss with the heartwood. If it's all heartwood, we'll deal with it. Now here on this side, I'm not crazy about this grain here, and I'm not crazy about this grain here, because it's darn near flat. So I would say with the heartwood and the bad orientation on, this is a table right here. Oh, there it is. I was looking for that guy. Come back here. Oh, we're looking good in this one too. Pretty good. Really good here. Straight. A little bit of heartwood. That's still, you know, that's still a good thickness. And I think I'd still use this here. Now this is probably out. There's only so much flat sawing you can do, unless you want to tilt the, you know, the board at 45 degrees, which I think I'm probably the only one crazy enough to do that, and I don't have a sawmill, so that takes care of that, eh? How's that one? Is that one in the picture? No. Okay, so I gotta put that one down. Yeah, I think this log is a clear winner. Very, very happy with this guy. Great. Here's the, I believe this is probably the third pass. These wider ones are probably first and second passes. And then these are the you know, the narrower boards, of course. Let's see, we'll get these guys up here like so, and then I guess I'll just stand them up. Oh, this is so awesome. That's a good one. That's a good one. Let's see, where are we at here? Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Not so great. I don't necessarily like that heartwood in there. And this one, this one's pretty questionable. Because it's heartwood, and I don't, I mean, the grain's right, but I don't know. Can you see? Yeah. So, I think it's an overall success.